A global shift is underway where pressure is rising, people are responding, and systems are adjusting. This is not chaos, but transformation, revealing a clear pattern. The core idea is that history shows what happens when people stop accepting power. This is the other half of the pattern. Control meets resistance. The emerging global pattern is structural, not isolated, with pressure building inside systems, people pushing back, and governments forced to respond across multiple countries. There is a hard limit of control. No government has enough manpower to control entire populations by force. Control at scale, therefore, requires participation. To govern millions, systems require cooperation, compliance, and public confidence. Removing these makes control unstable. The current shift shows declining trust in institutions, weakening voluntary compliance, and rising public resistance globally. This changes the balance of power. In the United Kingdom, a proposed digital ID tied to employment faced major backlash, leading to widespread opposition and loss of public confidence. The government stepped back from the mandatory approach. This signals that the adjustment was a reaction to pressure, not a policy refinement. When confidence drops, governments adjust quickly to avoid escalation. In Ireland, rising fuel and cost of living pressures triggered backlash. This resulted in increased public dissatisfaction and political pressure, forcing government responses to reduce pressure. Canada saw rapid policy adjustments triggered by economic and political pressure. Policies changed quickly, signaling responsiveness to pressure, which indicates reaction, not stability. The key principle is that governments ease pressure when maintaining it becomes risky, not when they feel strong. This is a clear signal of instability. These are global signals, not isolated incidents. Similar patterns are appearing worldwide across different countries and issues, indicating the same structural response. In France, mass protests over economic and policy changes led to sustained demonstrations and public resistance. The government was forced into a defensive posture as a result. Farmer protests in the Netherlands disrupted national policy direction with large-scale mobilization and targeted economic pressure points. Policies were reconsidered under this pressure. Germany experienced increasing energy and economic protests, leading to growing public demonstrations and pressure on political leadership. The result was narrative and policy adjustments. In Australia, there was pushback on regulatory expansion and public resistance to control measures. This increased scrutiny of policy and led to delays and reassessment. Italy saw electoral shifts linked to dissatisfaction and public rejection of the existing direction. This political realignment resulted in change through democratic pressure. Across all these cases, a deep pattern emerges. Control increases, pressure builds, people respond, and systems are forced to adjust. The critical insight is that power is not maintained through force alone. It fundamentally depends on belief. When belief weakens, control weakens. Force alone cannot sustain large systems. Without confidence, enforcement becomes unstable, resistance increases, and the costs of control rise rapidly. The final point is that the system cannot rely on force. It must rely on belief. When belief weakens, everything begins to shift. When people push back, systems respond. Control is not absolute. It is conditional. Thank you for watching this video from Truth and Action Share Club, TAS.